What's up, everybody? Robert here. Been working on the Ephesians 2 video preparation, and I got struck upside the head by Ephesians 2:11 through 13. And really, it's more so I got struck in regards to the scriptures speaking into the hostility of today. And so I'm going to share some of that. Ephesians 2:12. Remember that you were at that time separated from Christ, alienated from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers to the covenant, having no hope and without God in this world. First, contextually, Paul is speaking of Jew versus Gentile. Let me take 60 seconds and try and explain that. In the first century, you had two groups of people as the way, for the most part, the biblical text looks at it, right? You have Jews and you have Gentiles. Inside of the Jews, there was multiple different sects within Pharisees, Sadducees, right? They believed slightly different things, but they were all ethnic Jews from the line of Israel. They were Israel. And there was some conversion to where a Gentile could convert to Judaism and could become a Jew. A slave of a Jewish family was one example that seems to be relatively prevalent. But across the board, the standard was not that. The standard was that Gentiles would worship other gods. Think again, let's go context. In Ephesians and Ephesus, they were worshiping the goddess of Artemis, right? The Artemis temple was there. We saw that in Acts from the intro video. If you didn't see it, check it out. So anyways, Jew, Gentile. The uncircumcised is the Gentile. The Jews despised the Gentiles because they were unclean. Think all of the Old Testament law that keeps you ceremoniously clean. Everything there to keep you clean, right? Well, the Gentiles didn't adhere to any of that. They were called dogs in some of the text because they were unclean. They took the scraps and they were not to be lived with. They were not to be conversed with. They were not all those things, right? They weren't allowed in the temples. Okay, I keep going. But we have this wall of hostility developed in the first century. Jew, Gentile. I can't talk to you. I can't do this. I can't do that. It sounds kind of similar to today, right? We have this wall of hostility coming up. And then let's look at how it describes that. No hope and without God. I don't know how else to describe hell than that. And then I think of unbelievers and I think, well, they have no hope and they're without God because they're separated by their sin. But let's keep going. Verse 13, but now in Christ Jesus, you who once were far off have been brought near by the blood of Christ. So contextually, the Gentiles have an option. They are now can be brought into the lineage of Israel. They can be brought into the bloodline of Christ. They can become royalty through Christ's work. We have access. But he says, you who were once far off. If you're a Gentile, maybe you're an ethnic Jew, and so you were always a part of the covenant family. But if you're not, if you're like me, and this whole thing is completely foreign, and now you're brought into the lineage of God, it should strike you a little bit. But more so, I want to take today's application, which is that we see a wall of hostility that was developed in the first century, and we see a wall of hostility to today. Arguably, nothing's changed. The wall of hostility is just over a different topic. So now we're not talking cleanliness, but kind of we are, right? We're talking abortion. We're talking this. I think that if you reflect and understand what you're saved from, it will help you better grasp the love of God so that you can love other people better, that you can love people well. There's not much difference in this discord between today and back then, right? The temple was destroyed by the Romans because of some of the discord that was going on during the day. You who were once far off have been brought near by the blood of Christ. Contemplate how this impacts your love for others. God chose to destroy the hostility, to destroy the wall, and to tear it down so that we would have access. And he did that for while we were yet sinners, he died for us from Romans. He didn't do that after we did something worthy. He did that before. My question to you is, how are you loving your enemies? We're called to love our enemies well. And this is a perfect example that we can take, apply to current day, and see that even those people that we disagree with, even those people committing evil, heinous acts, still have access to the gospel. They still need to be preached to. They still need to be loved. You are to call evil, evil, yet love those evildoers. That's the only way. It's the only way they may convert and they may come to see the light. Be the salt of the earth. Grasp the love of God so that you may love people well. Be blessed as you go.